During the first part of this video, we are going to go over the basic parts of the Hoyer lift. You have the base, which has the wheels. The base is able to widen or stay narrow with this lever. You simply pull it out and move it if you need it wide in order to maybe go around a chair, or if you need to get through doorways. When you're moving, you're going to narrow it. On the wheels, we have brakes. All you need to do is step on the levers to make it locked in place, and you can release them by stepping on the other side. It's very important that you remember to lock the brakes whenever you are getting somebody in position or lowering them back down. We also have this knob, which is the valve. This releases and tightens the mechanism, which can lift and lower where the person will actually be hooked up on the sling. You can simply close it to tighten it, and then you use this lever here, you pump it, and that raises the person. So you pump it to the desired height, and once you get it to the point that you need it at, you slowly open the valve, and it makes the person come down. Be very careful because you can open it all the way and it goes down very quickly. So you want to release it slowly. When working with someone, you will use a sling to connect them to the Hoyer. The idea is to have the sling wrapped around them so they will be in a seated position. When using a sling such as this one, which is most common for us here at Lord's Legacy, there is always a hole, which is helpful for if somebody needs to go to the restroom. So their bottom should always be placed in this hole. The person would be set up with the sling, with their bottom in the hole, and in order to get them in a seated position, you would want the longer of the straps to be connected at the bottom. So usually black or green, depending on the size of the person. The larger they are, the longer the strap that you're going to want. In the back, you'll want the straps a little bit shorter. So with the black in the front, we will go yellow in the back. But once again, it's just depending on how large the person is. When you go over individualized training for each person, you will be told what color scheme to use in order to raise them to the most successful position. Once you have those connected, and you will probably need for it to be further down when you're setting them up. Always remind the person to watch their head, and you'll also want to watch their feet. Depending on the person, and once again, it'll be individualized, you may have them start this way, so their feet are out towards the opening, or you may have them facing the other way, dependent on how much back control they have. Once you have them set up, you're just going to want to raise them up. Before moving them, you're always going to want to use the lever to close the feet. You can position them with this pivoting mechanism however you need to in order to set them on the chair or on the ground, whatever the case may be. You can also swing this kind of backwards a little bit if you need to, but most of the time you're just going to want to keep it right up. You may just spin them in any certain way, depending on how the chair works or how the bed works. And once again, you may need to, once you get them into position, you may need to open the legs back up in order to get them around the chair. When moving the Hoyer, you will always want to use these handlebars to steer it. And you're going to want to stay directly behind in order to assure that you stay balanced.
So,
Hey,
Jamie,
Hi.
we're going to move you today, okay?
Okay.
You feeling all right?
feeling great.
Good. We're gonna put the sling underneath of you. Have you ever been moved on a Hoyer lift before?
No. Could you please explain it to me?
Okay. Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this nice little sling under your body, and then we're gonna slowly move you up just a little bit. It's not very far.
Pull you toward me a little.
And see, with Barb being right there, she's not gonna fall off the bed. I've rolled this halfway underneath, because then Barb and I are gonna roll her this way.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn you back toward the other way, toward Donna, okay?
Okay, come on. Jamie, if anything scares you when we're moving you, you just tell me, okay?
Okay.
And we'll stop. But we're doing it this way so we don't hurt you. We don't drop you, okay?
Okay.
All right, so now we've got her on pretty good. We've got her on. I like this too because it just slips. You're helping a lot.
Anytime you're gonna transfer somebody, you want to look at the legs, depending on if you're going under a bed or what you're going under, but you can use this gear and it'll open the legs, it'll close the legs. So I wanna get it to the width where it will go nicely straight forward, so that we can get her hooked up.
And one thing we're always looking for when we're using wheelchairs or Hoyer lifts, we want to kind of pre-plan everything. So we want to get everything out of the pathway, the end table or whatever's here. We want to make sure that there's no containers under the bed so that Barb can get these wheels under the bed.
Make sure you put your brakes on always.
And then we want to make sure when we open up this valve, this is going to slowly drop. Yeah, it was open, okay. The nice thing about the color codes, once we find out how we can best get Jamie positioned using the color codes, we write that down in the book and that becomes part of her individual plan. Okay, so we have 3 hooks and we have 3 parts that we're gonna hook up, don't we? Yeah. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Up here, we're gonna go with the close one, because it's our head. Here, we're gonna go, what, middle?
Mm-hmm. And then this one loose. Right. Yeah. But, okay, Miss Jamie, we're gonna put you up now, okay? We'll do it real slow.
Yeah.
It's just tight. Okay. One body saving, back saving that I always teach in therapy with caregivers, get your pelvis as close to the job as you can. And
So you
anytime,
use your core.
yep. And anytime you can get one leg up, do so. You feel that pulling you up a little bit, Jamie?
Yep.
You still all right?
I'm good.
Okay.
And Jimmy, we're gonna turn you. Get brakes on.
Yes.
We're gonna turn you.
Okay, and this part's really important too because we want Jamie to be we want her pelvis to end up in a really nice position. So if we were to lower her exactly like this, she would be in what we call posterior pelvic tilt or sacral sitting, which is really bad.
We're gonna lower you slowly.
Donna, talk about your leg position, where you're kind
Yeah, I'm just in here a little closer to kind of help her.
of to guide her down.
And by me being in here, I'm not like this, killing my back. And before we let her loose, we'll she's in, that one hip is up too high. It's been like that the whole time. Which is okay in the carnival ride. Scoot you back a little bit, okay?
Okay.
There we go. Now her posture's real good. So now we can take this off and take it away.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The
Thank
first
you.
thing that we want to make sure we're not doing, and it is a real common mistake that we see, is when people put the gait belt on and they begin to transfer right here. Either the client will do it or even the transfer helper will say, okay, put your arms around my neck, and we don't want that because she can knock me over or I can knock her over. It's just really unsafe. So what we want to do instead is use a natural position. A natural position, go ahead and get up. A natural, there you go. Sit back down. A natural position for getting up is in slow motion. The body comes forward and the arms help push off. And I like to simulate a natural position even if the patient is totally unable to help. Because we know in therapy world, if we can still use the same body alignment, it's more natural for the participant to receive the help. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. So with the transfer, we want to get wide. I want to widen my base of support. I've got one foot behind me. And that way, when I start to rock, I'll be able to survive that weight shift and I'm not going to lose my own balance. So what we're going to do is we're going to have her rock maybe 1, 2, 3. Up and over.
Okay.
I've got one hand held in front, one in the back. One thing that we make a mistake of doing that I think we should talk about, and this is general. Her feet, you see where her feet are right now? A lot of people, when they stop walking, or they never have walked, and somebody else comes along to help them, they forget to put them in the right position. It is really just about impossible for me to get up, unless I'm pregnant and I've gotten really good at it. But if you are helping me and my feet are up here, it is going to be I can fall backwards and you can certainly tear your back apart.
Yeah.
So you want to have your feet under you. So when her feet, go ahead and put them back out because that was great. Then what I'm going to do is say, okay, let's get your feet back. So I'm going to put them back. Not everybody's feet go back as easily. If she has swelling behind the knees, we're not going to really get them back very far. And in that case, you kind of try to shimmy the person out to the edge without going too far. Okay, so now, Miss Jamie, I'm going to have, we'll count to 3, and then I'm going to have you stand up, and I want you to hold on to the walker. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm really close to her. Transfers in general, I mean, I'm letting go right now, but transfers in general, you cannot be afraid to be too close. You have to be really, really close. If you're really, really close, they're not going to get hurt. But far away, if I'm a little shy or I'm afraid of my coffee breath, something's going to happen. Okay, so now this she's more able. So now you're gonna turn. And this is where we want to think about this prior too. Now you can take your hand off the walker, and I want you to hold on to the armrest of the chair. We're imaginary.
Yeah.
Because we already talked about this, but we want armrests when at all possible. When you're out in the community, try to find a second, the chair that you're going to, try to see if there's a chair somewhere with armrests. Even if you have to ask management for a special chair, it's always easier to get back up.